James Dyson built 5,127 prototypes before his vacuum worked. 5,127 failures. In a coach house in the Cotswolds. No funding, no backing, just a man, a problem, and 15 years of refusing to stop. He solved it. And Britain adopted him as one of its own. You have bought a Dyson, or you know someone who has. Or you have stood in a shop and seriously considered it. And somewhere in that decision was a feeling. This is British engineering. This is worth the premium. Here is what the box does not tell you. In 2002, Dyson closed its British factory and moved manufacturing to Malaysia. 800 people lost their jobs. The factory in Malmesbury, Wiltshire, had produced every Dyson vacuum ever made. The DC-01, the DC-02, products that had built the brand from a coach house into a global name. When it closed the tooling, the machinery and the production moved to a facility in Johor, Malaysia. Labor costs were a fraction of what they had been in Britain. Dyson said it was necessary to remain competitive. What happened next is worth noting. The products did not get cheaper. The margins got better. The engineering stayed in Britain. The factory did not. Most people never found out. The branding did not change. The story of the stubborn British inventor remained exactly as compelling as it had always been. The factory just happened to be somewhere else now. Then came Brexit. James Dyson, the British inventor who built one of the most trusted premium brands in the world from a coach house in the Cotswolds. In 2016, he became one of the loudest voices in Britain, arguing for leaving the European Union. Not quietly, loudly. Articles, interviews, public statements. He wrote in the Telegraph that Brexit would be a liberation for British business. He argued that sovereignty would make companies like Dyson stronger, that the European Union was holding Britain back, that Britain's best days were ahead of it outside the EU. These were not passing comments. This was a sustained public campaign. Britain voted to leave. 7 months later, Dyson announced it was moving its global headquarters to Singapore. The man who told Britain that Brexit was good for British business moved his business out of Britain 7 months later. He said it had nothing to do with Brexit. What Singapore offered him tells you everything. Not a satellite office, not a regional hub. The headquarters, the legal and financial center of the entire company, to one of the world's most business-friendly jurisdictions on the other side of the planet. James Dyson moved there personally shortly after. When the contradiction was pointed out, Dyson said the move had nothing to do with Brexit. It was about being closer to the company's fastest-growing markets in Asia. That may be true. Singapore's corporate tax rate is 17%. Britain's is 25%. Both things can be true simultaneously. You are allowed to reach your own conclusion. Now, here is what matters. The engineering is still in Britain. The design is still in Britain. Dyson employs over 3,000 engineers and scientists at its campus in Hullavington, Wiltshire, a converted RAF airfield that Dyson bought and transformed into one of the most advanced engineering campuses in Europe. Hundreds of millions of pounds invested. Real jobs, real innovation, real commitment to British engineering talent. That is not marketing. That is genuinely real, and it should be said clearly. But the company that made those investments, the legal and financial entity that owns the patents, collects the profits, and makes the strategic decisions, is headquartered in Singapore. The engineering is British. The company that owns the engineering is not. The next time you run a Dyson across your floor, the machine that costs more because it represents British engineering excellence, ask yourself one question. Where is the company that makes it headquartered? Not Wiltshire, Singapore. This is the markup.